The stubborn cow old Hank had been a farmer all his life. His hands were calloused, his back was bent, and he could tell the weather just by sniffing the air. But no amount of experience had prepared him for the sheer stubbornness of his cow, Bessie. Bessie wasn't just any cow, she was the queen of the barnyard, and she knew it. She had been with Hank for nearly 10 years, providing milk every morning without fail. But today, for reasons only known to Bessie, she refused to leave the shade of the old oak tree in the pasture. Hank stood with his hands on his hips, staring her down. "Come on now, Bessie," he sighed. "Ain't got all day." Bessie flicked her tail and turned her big brown eyes toward him, but didn't move an inch. Hank tried sweet talk. "Girl, I got fresh hay waiting for you. Real nice, soft stuff." Bessie chewed her cud, unimpressed. Hank tried bribery, holding out a shiny red apple. Bessie stretched her neck, sniffed it, then swatted Hank's arm with her tail and went back to chewing. Frustration growing, Hank muttered under his breath, "All right, you stubborn sack of milk. You want to play games? Fine." He walked back to the barn and grabbed an old rope. If persuasion wouldn't work, he'd have to take matters into his own hands. Wrapping the rope gently around Bessie's neck, he gave a light tug. "Come on, girl." Bessie locked her knees and refused to budge. Hank pulled harder. Bessie didn't even flinch. Sweat dripped down his brow as he gritted his teeth. "You are the most hard-headed creature I've ever had the misfortune of knowing." Bessie blinked at him lazily. Then, just as Hank was about to give up, a little voice piped up behind him. "Grandpa, what you doing?" Hank turned to see his granddaughter Lily standing there with a giggle in her voice. "This old cow won't budge," he grumbled. Lily tilted her head, then walked up to Bessie. "She don't like being pulled, Grandpa." "Oh, yeah. And what do you suggest, little Miss Know-It-All?" Lily smiled and reached into her pocket, pulling out a handful of clover. She held it under Bessie's nose. The stubborn cow sniffed, twitched her ears, and without a second, Thought stood up and followed Lily toward the barn like a well-trained dog. Hank stared, slack-jawed. "Well, I'll be," Lily grinned. "Sometimes you just gotta ask nice." Hank chuckled and ruffled her hair. "Guess you're smarter than your old grandpa." As Bessie settled into her stall, Hank looked at Lily with a twinkle in his eye. "How about you take over farming someday?" Lily giggled. "Maybe, but only if I get my own cow." Hank laughed, shaking his head. "Deal." And with that, the stubborn cow, the wise little girl, and the old farmer ended their day in peace.